What's up, guys? I should have totally labeled this. My bad. Anyway, so just long story short, to catch anybody up who might be jumping in who is totally not in the know. I talked to, obviously, some sort of paranormal entities or whatever. I call them elementals. They're essentially the good guys, more or less, angels or protecting guardians of some sort. They control nature, and they're the nature gods. I've had correlations with them, conversations, including my friend Frederick, about there being some sort of plot or attack on Copenhagen, Sweden, or I guess it's Denmark, in recent times. They said that on the 7th of November, they give me a 2-week window. I'm speculating they actually don't have any clue as to when the time is for us as opposed to them, but they can tell me things that happen on the same day, and they consistently have been giving me a 2-week window. Elementals, I please ask, do not interrupt the feed unless you're validating something I'm talking about. My phone's charging. I'm going to talk to them a little bit later and go over everything that I know, because as of today, it's Wednesday the 15th of November, so the actual event or date of this is going to be November 21st, Tuesday, Mars Day of next week, at the university, it looks like, of Copenhagen, in Sweden or Denmark or whatever. So they like to do the whole validation thing where they will make my thing glitch. Anybody, Anthony, if you're still here, who's in the comments, if they want to acknowledge that there's glitching, I don't see it on this end until I play back the video. But they gave some specific details to myself and my friend Fred. They give more details to my friend Fred, which I'm not necessarily offended, but I'm kind of like, dude, I was like, Fred has like a day job. You could at least like tell me, who's obsessive and has all the time in the world apparently. But anyway, so elementals, feel free to chime in or, you know, make some sort of glitching or something like that with the video. If I hit anything that you are basically want to give me hints where the attacks might happen. It's likely going to be some sort of bomb. It could be some sort of suicide vest. They reference something called Slots Home. It was actually Slots, and then my friend Fred said home or something, was 2 separate words. There's a street called Slots and Home, SLOTSOHOLEMEN, sorry. And so on that road, we have the National Museum of Denmark, and I'm just going off of Google Maps. It says that there's 882 views. So I don't know how many people usually visit or whatever, or the maximum capacity of that. I live on the other side of the world. I'm not even going to go there and try to pretend like I know what's going on in Sweden. But specifically, I'm just looking at the reviews because at least it gives me an idea of how much traffic there likely is. So when we look along that road, there's the National Museum of Denmark, and then I look along that road again and I see, I see the Danish Jewish Museum, Danish Jewish Culture and History Museum. Specifically, culture was mentioned as one of the key words. So I'm not actually looking at the screen or anything if there's commenters, because I'm looking at another tab. But culture was one of the words that they emphasized with me. Funny, my friend's name is Frederick, because Fredericksburg is the name of this particular suburb or area where all this is transpiring. So that would explain why I guess they would tell him that. Maybe they were thinking he'd look up on a map because they tipped him off somehow to look at a map. That's where he got that from, because I actually simultaneously was looking at globes one day when I was at Hobby Lobby. I was like, I need one of these for coordinates, and I don't know why. And then later that night, Fred sending me screenshots of coordinates on the maps, and I'm like, okay, so they obviously kind of told him somehow too. Then on that Slots Home Street, around the block from the Danish Jewish Museum, I have no idea how to say this, but it's a museum about military history and weaponry exhibits. Has 101 reviews. All these places seem to open at 8 a.m. or 10 a.m. And so I have this inclination that it's something to do with the museum, just with there being so many places that could potentially be targeted for this, and there being a lot of traffic, it being like on a Tuesday or something like that of all times. I don't know what the tourism is like in that area, but it would make sense that this person would stage multiple bomb or explosive devices in different places. They did reference to something about boxes, so it would make more sense if this was one individual. I think it's energy transference through ley lenses or geometry. I have no idea how they do it. We're just going to go with it. So if you've seen glitches, as I've been mentioning places, then that's usually affirmation. So there's the Copenhagen Business School. I can't even imagine how to pronounce any of these. And it has 92 reviews. Then we have the University of Copenhagen Faculty of Life Sciences, and that's the Frederiksberg campus. My friend's name is Frederick, so I kind of wonder if that's something to do with it. This is the Faculty of Law, University of Copenhagen, has 4 reviews. The other thing that instantly stuck out to me, because Royal was a word they told me or told Fred, the Royal Library is on Black Diamond, and it's the National Library with exhibits and events. Opens 8 a.m. every day. My friend Jane, who's also a credible astrologer as well, a little bit more thorough with fatalistic stuff, with asteroid points in astrology. If you're not familiar, then I'll kind of just get to it. He specifically mentioned that there's going to be a lot of casualties, and that was reemphasized with them saying paramedics and all sorts of things to me. And he was asking when he should map out the chart for the event, because we have to use an exact time for an astrology chart. I told him just to do the Lord Ruler of the Day with equal houses, which is kind of like what I draw out on a whiteboard sometimes. But he used noon, and he said a little bit before noon, there's death signatures all over the place that are associated with bombs, mass casualties, explosive devices, could be car bombs. I noticed that one street that goes right in front of the museum, it's right across from their economic exchange, like their New York Stock Exchange for Sweden or whatever, and it's right next to their government building, and right next to like their Magistracy of Foreign whatever things. I'm like, holy crap. And the only other thing that stood out to me was the Botanical Garden. It has 1,255 reviews. It's picturesque garden, so it would be a tourist hotspot, and it has many greenhouses. Opens at 8:30 a.m. So everything looks like it opens at 8:30. They'd obviously be wanting to get as many casualties as possible, so it would be a little later in the day. That explains Jane's chart about a little bit before noon there being massive death signatures. Then the Department of Earth Science and Natural Management only has 2 reviews, and that's close to the Botanical Garden. And then the IT University for Copenhagen, and that one has 72 reviews. These are all within, I think, not even, let's see. Wonder if I can click on this and then do directions. Directions. Let's do, gosh, it would help if I could speak any of this stuff. Don't know a damn word of it. Oh, so here's the IT is way across the river. They have mentioned a river to me as well. So it's 6.2 kilometers. Oh goodness, can we just, how do I change it to miles? Does anybody, okay, never mind. I was gonna say, can anybody translate miles to me? 3.8 miles. So even the furthest campus across the river, the IT University, and to the Copenhagen Business School, which is the furthest one out, there's only a 3-mile gap in between all those. That's definitely walking distance. Our locations within the given coordinates, I'll have to check with Fred. Fred's probably working right now because he's the one that's been more on top of the coordinates. But one thing that they mentioned to me, and I've showed you the list, Luna, that they mentioned something about culture to me. And then they mentioned, let me pull up the image. They mentioned culture. And so the Danish Jewish Culture and History Museum, they also mentioned that slot thing to Fred, which is the street that all of these things are on. And yeah, let's see. Honestly, like my gut instinct says that if he were to stage like actual timed devices, explosives, he could literally set one at like the museum, the Royal Library, because they've mentioned Royal to me before, and they could set one at the Museum for Weaponry and Military, because I think that that would just be ironic. And a lot of the Muslim refugees or Muslims in general have a lot of time on their hands, not being able to watch TV or, you know, listen to music or anything. So they might think it's really funny to do something of that sort. I would think it's pretty ironic. Screwed up, but ironic. If I were theoretically going to be in their shoes, I would think it's really freaking hilarious to bomb the military museum. I'm not saying I would do that, but just putting myself into like the mindset of the potential perpetrator in question. So for anybody who knows anyone in Sweden, especially near the university, or if you just want to share this for the fuck of it, or if you happen to speak Danish, Tuesday, the 21st of November, it's going to be around noonish. There's going to be, wherever there's crowds, there's going to be casualties. That's pretty much said and done. I'm going to end this, look back and see where the glitching was. Once my phone is charged, I have like an actual list of some of the places and everything I wrote out. I'm going to go over this with the elementals on the device too, and see if they want to give me any new details specifically, because we know at this point that it's going to be a male, likely a student, somebody who is enrolled at the school, and it says something about how this is retribution for not accepting his culture. So even if we want to take the whole race or religion thing out of it, who the hell is in the middle of Sweden right now that's probably on some sort of student visa who would be pissed at Swedish people or Danish people for not accepting their cultures? I don't even have to reiterate that. So it's going to be some sort of male student. I would assume that people aren't going to really notice him, because if he's a regular around the area, that's what makes me think he's going to attack more on the campuses, first and foremost. But it would be easy for him to stage other things. I noticed that there's bus routes right in front on that slot street too, right in front of the campuses, so there's that. But I noticed that there's events or whatever going on at the library or exhibitions, so I think I should look into that. Or Luna, if you want to ask somebody or look into that maybe, because it might be easier for you to search it because of where you are. If there's any specific huge events going on Tuesday at the Royal Library. Other than that, I would just automatically think the Jewish Museum would be the prime target, because they obviously don't like Jewish people, and the elementals emphasize that it's going to be the same kind of thing that's happening in the Middle East, which is them attacking Jews. So that would be that. I mean, could be just blowing things up, but trying to be a little bit more specific here. And hopefully, if we are right, it's not even about being right. If we can potentially predict and give out detailed warnings for premeditated terrorist attacks with astrology readings, this is huge in helping fight the war on terrorism and all this bullshit. So it's not like I don't already have Muslims threatening me via social media all the time anyway, so it's whatever. Anyway, I'm gonna go. Bye, guys.